A few months ago, Ninja quietly launched the 3.8 litre Ninja 6-in-1 Max Grill and Air Fryer to join their already quite extensive collection of indoor grills. This new DG551 appears to be a modernised version of the older AG551, but it's slightly lighter with lower wattage and a lower price. It's still got exactly the same accessories, the same cyclonic air technology, the same digital meat probe and smart cooking technology. Both cook for up to 6 people and have the same 6 cooking functions. The Ninja grill differs from the famous George Foreman because it doesn't have hot plates on the top, but it does have an air fryer mode and smokeless cooking. And it also claims to have no flip grilling, which I'll talk about a bit more in a moment when I show you some of the dishes that I've cooked in this grill over the last week. But first, if you want to really make my week and you are new here, please consider subscribing to this channel. My name is Clara and I've spent the last 2 years testing out home appliances and making weekly videos that show you how to choose and use them. Subscribing to this channel won't cost you any money, but it will mean that you are more likely to see my videos on your YouTube homepage, and it helps give this channel a little bit of a boost. So here's a look at what we cooked over the last week, starting off with the dehydration function. It's been a bumper year for fruit in the UK, so we've been dehydrating some of our apples from our garden. They keep for months once they are dried out, and they make really good snacks to take on walks or outings with the kids, and the dog also loves them. This grill, like most air fryers, doesn't have the capacity to let you dehydrate huge quantities of fruit, but I did manage to get 2 thinly sliced apples on the grill plate, which dried out over a period of several hours. Now, if that seems like an extravagant use of electricity, bear in mind the apples, of course, were free, and this grill only used 0.4 kilowatt hours, equivalent to about 12 pence of electricity here in the UK for that 3.5 hours that it was running. Next, we used the grill function to cook steaks in conjunction with the digital temperature probe. The probe has a storage compartment on the side of the grill and is attached to a cable which plugs into a hole on the side. Unlike air fryers, which will frequently say that you don't need to preheat them, this Ninja grill is all about getting the barbecue-like sizzle on its ceramic plate. So preheating is automatic on most of the settings. It takes a few minutes to come to temperature, and you can watch the progress on the display by seeing how many little dashes have lit up. We set the grill up specifying that we were cooking beef and wanted level 3 medium rare. Despite the fact that this grill claims to offer no flip grilling, it did actually alert us halfway through that we needed to turn the steaks. So we did, and then a couple of minutes later there was another beep to tell us that the probe had reached temperature and it was time for us to get food. Now, my husband wasn't completely convinced that the built-in temperature probe was correct, so we did double check it with our other temperature probe, but it turned out Ninja was right and the steaks were perfectly medium rare. Because this appliance also works as an air fryer, you can swap out the grill plate for the air fryer basket and cook chips while your steak is resting. Results are pretty good, and you get a decent amount of surface area to spread your food out onto. You can set the temperature on air fry between 150 Celsius and 240 Celsius. I also used the grill to cook prawn skewers, halloumi and peppers, which made a really nice summery salad-based lunch, even though we're heading into autumn. Of course, cooking directly on the grill plate is messy. The cheese in particular left a lot of residue, and then you are left with a ribbed surface to clean. But you do get a cleaning brush supplied in the box, and the ceramic coating does help to a certain extent keeping it clean. All of the removable parts of this grill are dishwasher safe, except of course the digital temperature probe. The next night we did a second round of indoor barbecuing with sausages, corn on the cob and roast vegetables. There are 4 level options on the grill. Ninja advises you to cook sausages on low and the vegetables on max. So we did the sausages first and then the vegetables second. and we were really impressed with the results. The sausages were browned evenly all over, dare I say it, better than I actually ever get them out of an air fryer. And though the corn on the cob looks blackened at the ends, it was actually juicy and tasted really amazing. Now, of course, sausages do spit a lot because they're fatty, and this grill comes with a removable splatter guard, which helps to ensure against one of the main irritations with air fryers by keeping the heating element and the area around it clean, and also helping prevent smoking when you're cooking something fatty like sausages. Ninja says that you should ideally wash this splatter guard after every use by pressing the top tab back and unhooking it from the lid. This, like the other accessories, is dishwasher proof, and I think it's probably worth spending a little bit of money to buy a spare so that you can rotate the original and spare in and out of the grill and dishwasher. Next, we tried out the baking mode, which can be set to temperatures between 120 and 210. I made a batch of focaccia, which I proved and baked directly in the tray. Although I got a very well done top to the bread, probably slightly too well done, I did have to flip it over to get a brown bottom. The instruction book does actually advise that when you're baking, you should line the crisper basket with baking paper and use that to cook in, so the air can circulate in the space between the cooking pot and the crisper basket and ensure the bottom of the food is cooked properly. So I did try out this method when I tested out baking Ninja's raspberry chocolate brownies, the recipe for which is included in the booklet that comes with the grill. Although I've got to say, I really was not all that confident about these brownies turning out as they should, because I spotted this tip on the recipe page. Making a baking paper liner for the crisper basket should be pretty straightforward, but I am not terribly good at three-dimensional thinking or parallel parking, as you might get from this little sequence. Despite the dodgy cooking tip in the book and my even dodgier baking paper mould, the Ninja grill did produce great looking brownie, and because it's dangerous for me to be left in the house with all of this brownie, I tried a small piece and then I sent my husband to the office with the rest the next day, where apparently it was a massive hit. Incidentally, if you want to avoid the faff of making a baking paper container, Ninja does sell a loaf tin for this model alongside a vegetable tray, a half-size air fryer basket, griddle cup for eggs, a roast rack and skewers. And my most used air fryer accessory, which is not made by Ninja, which are these 6-inch tins, also fit neatly inside this grill. The fifth cooking method we tested out on this grill was roasting. Although the cooking space isn't very deep, you can still cook a whole chicken in it if you spatchcock it, which, if you haven't done it before, is actually really straightforward. It only takes about a minute, but it gives you a flat chicken perfect for this barbecue style of cooking. We used the Ninja's digital temperature probe again, setting it to chicken, and we seasoned the chicken with something that my Australian audience will be really familiar with, which is chicken salt. If you haven't tried it yet, you can actually buy it in other parts of the world, and I will link it below, but do not blame me if you get addicted to it and start adding it to everything that you cook. Our spatchcocked chicken turned out looking, smelling and tasting really great. You can also cook chicken breasts from frozen on this grill, which is a bit of a godsend if you're busy and slightly disorganised. You can just whip them out of the freezer, stick them on a preheated grill and have them ready to serve in about 25 minutes. Of course, you can't insert the temperature probe at the beginning to monitor cooking because the breasts are frozen solid, but you can add it once they have thawed out and are still cooking. Another option with this appliance is reheating. There's actually a dedicated reheat setting. I've said it before, but air fryers and grills are brilliant at reheating leftovers. They are almost as fast as microwaves, but crisp up food, so it's as good as, or sometimes better than, the first serving. Last week we had my father-in-law to stay. He took us out to dinner and he brought his leftover pizza slices home in a box, which we reheated the next day. With absolutely no prompting from me, he said the pizza was better reheated in the grill than it had been at the pub the night before. Just don't let the pub know that. Also, if you want to cook pizzas from frozen or refrigerated, this grill is of course quite big and perfect for doing that, and you can do it on the bake setting. We've got a teenage boy in the house who is constantly hungry, so I do keep a supply of pizzas in the freezer. So in the end, this Ninja grill was a little bit of a surprise. I wasn't really sure what the point of it was at the start of the week, and by the end of the week, my husband and his work colleagues were telling me that we had to hang on to it. I'm not convinced that it is that much healthier than using an air fryer, that you lose that much more fat by doing it on a grill plate as opposed to a crisper plate. But I just feel that it encourages you to eat healthier dishes. It makes you feel more like cooking up things that are part of the Mediterranean diet. There are two things that this Ninja grill doesn't offer, which some grills do, which is slow cooking and steaming. And if you want a grill that does those, and you're watching this in the UK, check out my review of the Budget Pro Cook Health Grill, which is appearing on the screen right now. As always, let me know what you think in the comments and check out the description for links to buy to help support this channel. Thanks for watching.